Unbelievable comeback. Coco Gauff shocks the tennis world. You won't believe what happened. Some moments in sports feel too wild, too magical, too impossible to be real. They don't belong to logic or strategy. They belong to destiny. They belong to the beating heart of champion who refuses to fall, refuses to surrender, refuses to be anything less than extraordinary. Tonight, Coco Gauff delivered one of those moments in a match that seemed hopeless in a battle the world thought she had already lost. In a showdown that pushed her to every mental and physical limit, Coco Gauff unleashed a comeback so unbelievable, so electrifying, so spine-tingling that it instantly became one of the greatest moments of her career. When it was over, fans were shaking. Commentators were speechless. Her opponent was stunned. And millions watching around the world kept asking the same question. How did she do that? This is a full story. The unbelievable comeback that shook the tennis world. A match that began like a nightmare from the very first point. Everything seemed to go wrong for Coco. Her opponent, a powerful veteran with ice-cold focus, came out firing lasers from every angle. Winners on the lines. Serves impossible to touch. Defense so sharp it looked like a wall of steel. Meanwhile, Coco, usually explosive, fluid, and fearless, looked frozen, tight. Her footwork lagged. Her timing was off. Her confidence flickered like a weak flame in the wind. Within 20 minutes, she was down 1-5. Fans were shocked. Commentators whispered doubts. Social media erupted in panic. What's happened to Coco? But even as the scoreboard screamed disaster, Coco didn't crumble. Her eyes told a different story. A fire was quietly building. A storm was gathering inside her. Her comeback wasn't about if. It was about when. The point that sparked the impossible. At 1:5, 30-40, facing set point, Coco chased a drop shot so delicate it looked like a whisper, floating across a net. She sprinted. She slid. She stretched further than physics should allow. Then she flicked the ball with a backhand so improvised and brilliant that it barely grazed a line. Her opponent froze. The crowd gasped. The umpire's voice echoed. Game still in play. Coco didn't celebrate. Not yet, but something had changed. Her shoulders relaxed. Her breathing steadied. Her eyes sharpened for the first time in a match. She smiled. That one insane point. Didn't win the set, but it lit a spark. And sparks, when given oxygen, become wildfires. The rise, a comeback that defied logic. After that play, Coco transformed. The fear evaporated. The hesitation disappeared. The champion awakened. She started hitting with depth and power. She chased every ball like her life depended on it. She returned serves that should have been unturnable. Her opponent, once unstoppable, began to crumble under Coco's new intensity. 2-2, 53-54 to 55-5. Every game Coco won sent waves of energy through the stadium. The fans were no longer sitting. They were standing, screaming, shaking. By the time she reached 6-5, the entire momentum of the match had flipped upside down. The comeback was officially alive. Stealing the first set, a shock wave through the stadium. The tie break felt like a war. Both players traded blows like heavyweight fighters. Winners, aces, impossible. Gets roars from the crowd. But Coco wanted it more. At 6-5 in the breaker, she unleashed a forehand winner. So unstoppable, so explosive, so beautifully violent that her opponent didn't even move. The ball blasted into corner. The crowd erupted. Coco clenched, her fist with all the power of a champion reclaiming her destiny. She had won the first set after trailing 15. Commentators nearly fell out of their chairs. The stadium shook. People watching at home screamed, and her opponent looked like she had seen a ghost. The second set momentum turns. Violent. Usually after such an emotional comeback, the momentum resets. Not tonight. Coco came into the second set with the swagger of a warrior who had already ripped control of the match out of her opponent's hands. Her opponent, shaken, rattled, unsteady. Coco hit shots that defied geometry. For hands off the court, backhands on a run, drop. Shots that floated like feathers, lobs that kissed the sky. Everything she touched turned into brilliance. 3-2, 0-4 to 5-2. The stadium was on fire. Chants of Coco thundered through the arena. Her opponent tried to fight back, fought with everything she had. But Coco was no longer just playing tennis. She was operating on another level entirely. A level reserved for legends. Match point. The moment that made history. At 5-2, 40-15. The entire world held its breath. Coco bounced the ball with calm, icy focus. She tossed a high and hit. Not a safe serve, not a defensive serve, but full power, fearless championship level. Missile down the tee. Her opponent lunged. The ball flew wide. The crowd exploded. Coco dropped her racket, tilted her head back, and screamed a primal scream that came from somewhere deep in her soul. She had done it from the brink of collapse from a 1-5. Nightmare from a place most athletes never returned from. Coco Gauff had delivered an unbelievable comeback. Her opponent's reaction, shock and respect. When they came to shake hands, Coco's opponent stared at her with a mixture of disbelief and admiration. You could see it in her eyes. How did you beat me? How did you turn around? How did you play? Like that? Coco simply smiled, a small, humble smile that said, because I believed. They hugged. Her opponent whispered something that cameras didn't catch, but everyone knew it was a message of respect. Because tonight, Coco earned not just victory, she earned. Oh, why this comeback shocked the tennis world. This wasn't just an ordinary rally. This wasn't just a regular comeback. This was special because white heavy check mark. The deficit was enormous. White heavy check mark. Her opponent was playing peak tennis. White heavy check mark. The momentum was completely against her. White heavy check mark. The pressure was suffocating. White heavy check mark. Her confidence was shaken. White heavy check mark. Crowd thought it was over. And yet, Coco flipped the script. She tore up the narrative. She rewrote the ending. Her comeback will be studied, replayed, remembered, because it wasn't just about skill. It was about heart, courage, inner fire, mental toughness, belief that refuses to die. Global reaction. A storm of awe. Within minutes, Twitter exploded. TikTok blew up. Instagram flooded with clips. Sports analysts ran out of adjectives. Unreal. Impossible. Coco GOAT status. I still can't believe what I just saw. This match will be talked about forever. Even legends of the sport chimed in. Serena Williams. That is how champions fight. Naomi. Osaka. This comeback was insane. Billie Jean King. Heart, courage, and the spirit of a champion. Conclusion. The night Coco became unstoppable. Tonight wasn't just a comeback. It was a rebirth. A statement, a declaration, a warning to the tennis world. Coco Gauff is not here to participate. She's here to dominate. She didn't just win a match. She won hearts. She won respect. She won her place in tennis history. And long after the lights went out, long after fans filed out into the night, one truth echoed louder than anything. Coco Gauff showed the world what happens when a champion refuses to fall. Her comeback was unbelievable. It was unforgettable, unshakable, unstoppable, and now the tennis world will never be the same. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next